I think all of us, anybody that's making content or wants to make content to put out on social media, we get stuck, because we have so many thoughts in our heads. We have so much we can share with people. And, so paralysis by analysis, sometimes we either get very slow or procrastinate on making content, or we don't do it at all because, you don't know where to start. And it's much easier to do other things than to try to figure it out. So this podcast, and today I'm going to be talking about a few ways, actually one simple way that helped me figure out exactly what type of content I should be out there, putting out there. And it's created a lot of great customers for us. Ready? So what you have to do is get incredibly clear about who you're talking to. And I know that sounds crazy, right? And maybe you've heard this, whatever, a couple hundred times. Let me show you the process of doing that though, okay? You have to get very clear on who your avatar is. We call them avatars. It's otherwise known as a buyer persona. It can be your best possible customer, your ideal customer, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. And we give that person a name. Let's say your avatar, you're going to call Jen. So what you have to get clear on is who Jen is. Because if you try to make content for everybody, no one will listen. If you're for everybody, you're for nobody. If you try to develop content and programs or anything for everybody, no one will buy them. Because people want stuff that's made just for them. They want content that speaks directly to their problems and their pleasures that they want. And the pleasures meaning, in their business, in their life, in their family, whatever that is. So you have to get clear on who your Jen, your avatar, again, Jen, we're going to call her for this little thing, who she is, what she wants, what are her problems, what's keeping Jen awake at night, what is something that just bugs her every day, what is that thing that she really wished she could fix because she knows if she fixes it, it would help her out in her business or life, family, whatever it is. It would help her so much if she could just solve that problem. What is that? And you need to list out what Jen's problems are. First, you need to list out who Jen is. Is she a small business owner? Is she an attorney, a dentist? Or is she someone, a housewife that's dealing with things? Whatever that is, doesn't have to be a business owner. But we're going to use Jen as being a business owner as an example for this. You need to get clear on what Jen deals with. Again, her hurdles every day. What's keeping her awake at night? But also you need to be very clear about what Jen's goals are. What are her dreams? What does she want to accomplish that would just make her life or business just incredibly well? We're just going to assume life and business, same thing, because if she's a business owner, the better her business does, the better her life is. That's the way it works. So what is it? Short-term, long-term, tomorrow? What would she just love to accomplish today, this afternoon? What would she love to accomplish next week, next month, next year, 5 years from now? And list those things out. Because when I got incredibly clear about who that person is for us, one of ours is called Stan, then it became incredibly easy to create content that spoke to Stan. Because if Jen, your avatar in this, if the content you're going to make doesn't speak to your avatar, Stan or Jen, whoever that is, then why do it? Because if they're not going to respond to it, if it's not going to speak to them, then that's called wasting your time. Okay? It's wasting. First, they're not going to respond to it. They're not going to listen. They're not going to watch. They're not going to read. They're not going to see you as an expert for them. So why do it? Okay? And we don't have, all the time in the world. We only have a few hours a day that we can do this stuff, or a few hours a week, or 15 minutes a week that you create content. So it has to have purpose. It has to speak to your avatar. If not, do something else, more productive. All right. So the cool thing about this that I also want to talk to you about is that you don't have to create the next iPad. You're not having to create this whole new way of doing something that no one's ever done before, or they've never solved the problem this way. So you understand what's easy for you, what's monotonous for you, can be mind-blowing to other people. The way you solve a problem can be mind-blowing to other people because everybody's not you. And a great example of this is I've built a huge network of people through networking and through business events and things like this. And so I'm really good at that. And a lot of people know me as a networking guru master. I don't care. They call me whatever. I didn't put those names on myself. And so when I share simple things that I do to build a huge 35,000 person network that I have, people are blown away by it. How I talk about my business, how I introduce myself, these little simple things that are just, I do in my sleep, change other people's business. So the point is, it doesn't have to be hugely crazy, difficult, complex things that can really change people's lives. In fact, aren't we all just looking for simple solutions to simple problems we have every day? That's what your avatars are looking for, because that's what we all look for. We don't need complex. Complex doesn't work these days. We don't have time. I need simple solutions to things that are holding me back and simple solutions that can create more pleasure in my business or life. That's what your avatars want. Isn't that what you want? So think simply. Break these problems that these people are having down to the simplest little answers that can create huge wins for them. What one-line piece of advice, what one piece of advice can you give Jen, your avatar? What piece of advice can you help her solve one simple thing that can free up 20 more minutes in her life today? I guarantee you have them, and that's the content you need to make. Let's talk a little further about this. The other thing that causes people to not make content, they're like, well, they have this thing that they don't think they're the expert at. Oh, there's other experts that are better than me, or they don't feel they're an expert enough at it. Let me tell you this. You only need to be 10 minutes ahead of somebody to show them exactly what you just did. I'm going to say that again. You don't have to be 900 years and have studied something for 900 years. You just need to be 10 minutes ahead of somebody to show them what you just did and how you accomplished it. And again, it can be the simplest of things. You need to have compassion. You tell your story. Here's how I overcame this, just like I'm doing with this video and podcast right now. I'm telling you how I overcame the problem of what content should I make. And this is in our podcast. This is on videos. This is blogs. This is emails. This is everything. This is how I overcame this problem and created. And so it's working incredibly well for us with tons of customers. So, am I the world-renowned content marketing guy in the world? No, there's people that are much better than I am. There's a lot of people that are much better than I am. But this is what's worked for me. This is how we created 35,000 customers in content. This is how we have multiple new customers coming in every month. This is what's working. So I'm sharing that with you. Again, 10 minutes ahead, showing you what I just did. So let's do an example where we talk about your avatar. Let's say you are, a lot of people will say, I'll say, well, who are you looking for? A lot of people will say, well, I like to get in front of small business owners. Okay, whether it's solopreneurs or, small businesses, goes up to like $25 million a year. That's a wide range, too wide. But a lot of people say this, Steve, how can I get in front of more small business owners? And I say, my first question to them is, well, what small business owners? They'll be like, well, all of them. Or if they'll say, well, as long as they have, 5 employees or less, or 5 employees or more, or 10 employees or more, that's still too broad. Again, if you're for everybody, you're for nobody. Because let's get something straight. There's very few of you listening that could handle like 1,000 new customers. Really? How many new customers are you looking to get here, let's say in the last 5 months of this year, 4 months of this year? Would 10 be great? Would 20, 30, 40? So you understand the content that you're making and why you want to get as specific as possible. You want to create that content for Jen. One person. This is something a lot of people think about. They start thinking about all people who are their avatar. They try to make content that satisfies 100,000 different people. That might be in their avatar cylinder, but they try to set, what content would they all want to hear? Wrong thinking. What would Jen want to hear? What does Jen need to hear? Your avatar. What would make her day? Again, I just talked about it. What would make her day? What would make her year? What problem can you help her solve? Because you have to realize once you create content for one person in mind, you'll go find 1,000 Jens, because there are 1,000 Jens out there. And as specific as you want to be. I've seen people that have very specific businesses. I only sell, SaaS software, software as a service software to dentists or orthodontists. Well, there's hundreds of thousands of orthodontists out there. I only do technology consulting for companies that make, moldings. I don't know. You know how many companies out there make moldings? Thousands of them. So you can be incredibly nichey. The riches are in the niches. That's what I hear. The riches are in the niches. So get incredibly defined. And let's keep going with our little example. So let's say let's get real defined and say Jen owns a cafe. Jen owns a small cafe. They're only open for breakfast and lunch. So let's look at what would be Jen's, biggest hurdles. What would be her issues? Well, she always wants to get new customers in the door, right? So do you have things that can help her do that? She also wants to figure out how to hire the right employee, because the hospitality industry, it is difficult to find great people that'll do great work for you. Do you have solutions for that? She wants to reduce her food costs. She wants to reduce her spending on everything, on utilities, on food, on insurance, on everything. Do you have solutions that can help Jen do that? Very simple things. And that's just getting over the issues. And that's just the business side. Jen also would like to see her kids. She would also like to spend more time with her family and take more vacations. Do you have solutions for that? How to handle the work-life balance. Jen would like to not have 800 emails in her inbox, and she would also like to stop getting all those stupid spam emails, but she spends hours a day just deleting those things. Do you have solutions that can help her do that? Think about all the tiny little things we all deal with on a daily basis that you could help people with, small things. Let's go to the positive side. Let's go to her goals. Jen would just love to have $1 million cafe. How can you help her do that? Again, she wants to get some more customers in the door. How does she do that without breaking the bank? She wants to get more return customers. How can she get people to come back again and again and again? Is it a birthday club? Is it a rewards program? Is it the text marketing stuff? What solutions do you have for that? And how can you help her? She wants to, how does she reward her employees? What's the best way to keep great employees now that she's finally found them? How could you help her do that? She wants to take trips. She only gets to take one vacation a year. How could you help her find the best amazing vacation? Because she has kids that are, 6 and under. She has 2 kids that are 6 and under because they're young. Well, going to Aruba or going to a, all-inclusive Jamaican vacation is not what she wants. What type should she take? What's the best place for kids under 6? How could you help her solve that problem? There's so many things, think about it, that are available to help Jen out. Choose 1, choose 2, choose 3. Help her cure these problems and overcome hurdles. Help her create these pleasures and help her reach her goals and her dreams. As simple as they could be. I'll bet you, Jen, if you just help her be able to hire the right person, she would love you to death and be open to any programs, consulting things that you have. You can help her solve that problem. Again, you don't have to completely revolutionize her business. Help her solve one problem at a time. She'll listen to your podcast. She'll watch your videos. She'll look at programs that you have and probably be a customer for life as long as you're transparent, as long as you're real, as long as you're passionate and compassionate, and help her do things she needs to accomplish and overcome things she needs to overcome. So think about that. It can be just that simple. Small things. What one thing can you tell Jen today to help her get a quick win? A quick win could be just how to eliminate spam. It could be, you know, how to set up food delivery. So now, people need curbside delivery, or they need delivery, access to be able to, deliver food to people instead of coming in the shop. Could you help her set that up? What's the best way? What's the best software? Do you take phone calls? Should you do it over the internet? How could you help her do that? So see, it's very easy to get caught up in and think too much about what you should say. Again, help Jen with one quick win today. Help her with another one next week, another one next week. Be there, share your story about how you overcame the same problems Jen is having, and she'll listen. She'll become a fan. She'll probably join Facebook groups that you run. And then she'll be like, man, when can that person, when can Steve, whatever you are, what your name is listening, when can you go help me out? When Jen will be like, what programs does that person have to help me? And I need to hire them. So get very clear about who your target is, what their problems are, what they deal with on a daily, hourly, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And then start listing out your content and that's what you need to follow. See, when you get incredibly clear like that on it, then it's much easier to just say, okay, here's what we're talking about today. It ends the paralysis by analysis. It ends the blockades in your own mind about what should I talk about? Talk to Jen. Talk to Jen, give her a quick win, solve a problem, create a pleasure. That's the content you need to make today. And if you do that, that stuff will rock your business and you'll create more clients. Again, speak to one, speak to Jen, speak to her, and you'll go find multiple new Jens without having to try to speak to everybody at one time. Speak to one person, help them solve one problem, and you'll find more of those same people out there in the world, and that will rock your business like crazy. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for watching the video. If you're watching the video, and go check our websites out, steveplacey.com and RYB Inc. That's RYBINC.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for listening. I hope this go out there, take this content, build your content, go rock your business. We'll see you soon.